Hello, hello Virgo, it's your turn for your reading for the month of July. Hope you all are doing well. Dates to keep in mind: July 2nd is a new moon in Cancer, as well as a solar eclipse in Cancer, and then July 16th is a full moon in Capricorn, as well as a partial lunar eclipse in Capricorn. So if you have any of those in your birth chart placements, whether it's your moon sign, rising sign, Venus, Mars, or whatever, those could affect you in the energies and stuff, but ultimately in the energies, within yourself and stuff as a collective. I did pre-shuffle the cards. Also, we have a lot of retrogrades happening, especially Mercury retrograde, where it's like, don't be alarmed if things aren't working properly or you can't move forward on something. It's a lot of the resistance energy happening with planets. And then July 1st, Mars goes into Leo. And I think Mercury just went into Leo. I don't know, I'll have to look. Anyways, this is a general reading, like I said. I think I already said that. So let's get into your reading. So coming in, Virgo, of the month of July, you have the Queen of Swords in reverse, Queen of Wands in reverse, the Star card in reverse, and the Queen of Cups in reverse. Alright, I'll get into the other one. I'll just kind of lay them up there. Queen of Swords, you could be dealing with air sign, water sign. I feel like it's more of the energy altogether. And we're in Cancer season, so be very careful when it comes to your emotions. Be very clear when it comes to your truth, and how you speak and how you portray yourself. The Queen of Swords in reverse, I feel like there's something that's unclear. Maybe you or another person's keeping it from you, but I feel like the Queen of Swords is cutting through the toxicity, cutting through things that don't work for you, but also too, it's about speaking your truth. So if there's some truths that you need to speak to someone, I feel like you need to do that this month. For some of you have been speaking your truth, even though it's in kind of an unnecessary way to do it sometimes. For some of you, not for all of you. Remember, this is general, so I feel like some of you, there's going to be a lot of naysayers, yaysayers when it comes to your truth. But I feel like ultimately there's no wrong and there's no good. There's no evil, there's no good. Basically, in this type of, reality, in the world of form, there's only your truth. And I feel like a lot of people are going to hate your truth, but I feel like that's where you went wrong in the past, is when you weren't authentic. And I feel like the Queen of Swords is here to remind you, coming into the month of July, don't give up when it comes to speaking your truth, when it comes through cutting things that don't work for you anymore. It's not like, you're trying to hurt people's feelings with it. It's just, your truth is your truth, and some people may not like it, or some people may not understand it, but ultimately it's your truth. So do be careful when it comes to, speak your truth, but I think you need to be careful with your emotions when it gets involved, especially with Cancer season. Water is an element of water. So, and with Virgo, that's earth. So it can be kind of like very traumatic for you because you're not used to this type of energy. But do be careful when it comes to that. But I just want to say it's more about speaking your truth. And I feel like in past tense, that was a difficulty trying to get through. Queen of Wands. Not moving forward quite yet on something, just observing. And I feel like what you're observing is how you speak and how you perform in this world, and how you value certain things and how you don't value certain things, especially when it comes to your truth. And I feel like you're coming to understand that your truth is who you are, and no one can take that away from you. But I feel like ultimately the struggle is when your perception isn't clear. And I feel like that's with you, like looking at the Queen of Swords, like you could be dealing with another air sign where you're just observing it, but I feel like there's something you're not saying. the Star card in reverse. So maybe you kind of feel defeated, kind of feel like you don't have the faith when it comes to seeing things clearly, when it comes to observing, the right perception. You could be kind of elusive when it comes to, what is right to you and what's not right, and what are you going to tolerate and what's not. And I feel like it becomes your perception. We are in that kind of like Piscean energy too, where things are going to be brought to light, and that's illusion. Things are going to be more clearer, but at the time being, especially in the water energy, I feel like you're kind of elusive when it comes to your perception this month. Queen of Cups in reverse. So you're kind of unstable when it comes to your emotions, when it comes to having the faith to perceive things clearer, and when it comes to authentically speaking your truth. Because I feel like ultimately Virgos don't want to hurt people in the long term, but sometimes they can be really harsh. So do be careful when not coming too harsh. The Magician in reverse. 8 of Pentacles in reverse. The Hermit card in reverse. The 3 of Wands. Okay, so past energies. A lot of these are past energies, I feel like, too, but it's just reassessing them. Magician card, I feel like that has to do with you're really unsure on what you're trying to manifest. Virgos are good about manifesting things, like they can see something and then start manifesting it. But I feel like the Magician card is be careful on what you want to manifest. Especially, it could be concerning the past. You were trying to manifest something in the past and it wasn't giving you the results you need. And then the 8 of Pentacles, it has to do with your finances. I feel like a lot of you try to manifest something in the past. You try to work hard at something, but for whatever reason, it didn't pan out the way that you want. So you moved on. But the Hermit card, which is your energy, I feel like you had to go within. You had to really, exit out for a situation, for some of you, to get the results you needed because you weren't moving forward. So the 3 of Wands, yeah. You were trying to expand your life, I feel like, and you were trying to expand on when it comes to, the things you're trying to create, and you couldn't create those things. Some of you, you made poor choices, I feel like, in the past, but I feel like those things are affecting you now. And I'm not saying you're rehashing them. I'm just saying, if we don't really understand how things are working in our lives, then we'll start in an endless cycle making the same mistakes. But I feel like this is more about you and your journey, about being the hermit, taking on the hermit's energy to go where you feel like you need to go. But for whatever reason, you're still looking on things in the past that didn't manifest. The Fool in reverse. 5 of Pentacles, or 5 of Cups in reverse. King of Wands. Tower. Yeah. So you're really thinking about the past and how it affected you. I feel like you're moving forward, but also too, I feel like you want to start a new beginning with someone or something that you're trying to manifest in your present life. But for whatever it is, the 5 of Cups is affecting that, and the 3. So you can't really move on something new because you're still in grievance, or there's still something blocking you from receiving that. I just feel like you're struggling with how to move forward on a new beginning when you still have these 5 of Cups laying around. You're still sulking in the past. You're still sulking on those things, those spilt cups, for some of you. But I feel like for some of you, you've been tired for a long time not moving forward. That now you're receiving a new beginning and you're receiving the benefits of your labor that you put in. But you had to, let go of things that aren't working for you in your present. And you're still thinking of those things. So in the past, you couldn't move forward on something. I feel like you had to set out on a new adventure. You had to set on a new beginning and Tower. So it brought a lot of enlightenment to you. It brought a lot of pain. It brought a lot of things that were unnecessary, but I feel like they had to happen. Also, too, you know, it did affect, I feel like ultimately, I was just thinking of this, it did affect people that thought they could depend on you. The Queen of Cups, you know, that could be an air sign, like I said, the Queen of Cups, or Queen of Swords, Queen of Cups. So I feel like ultimately it did affect, you know, when it came to your truth. Like you had to hid your truth from people because you fully couldn't open up, you fully couldn't express yourself either to this Queen of Swords or Queen of Cups. But I feel like ultimately, you know, you had to shut something down so you could move forward, because for whatever reason there was something that was blocking you from receiving that new beginning. Like you were working for something that wasn't ultimately giving you that ability to move forward. Like everything was unclear. But I feel like you're getting a grasp of that for whatever you are trying to work on or whatever you're trying to manifest. But I feel like for some of you, you're having a block when it comes to moving forward because you're starting to get back into the same patterns. You really haven't really had the clarity to move forward. You know, you're kind of like analyzing everything that went wrong, but you are in control of your destiny. You know what I mean? I'm going to put some more cards out for clarity. Clarity for Virgo. I think this card. So yeah, you have been trying to work on something that hasn't been working. And I feel like in the past, nothing was manifesting, nothing was working. And I feel like you're at a better place now, mentally, emotionally. You know, some of you could be dealing with a lot of grievances, a lot of holdups. But I feel like ultimately your goal is to manifest success when it comes to everything that you've worked hard into, and you're reaping that. So you're not holding anything back. I feel like you're letting go of things that are not working for your benefit. Because yeah, you don't want to get stuck in the past. You don't want to feel unproductive. But I feel like some of you are struggling with that. Like holding on to the concept of something that's not going to benefit you. So I feel like some of you need to let go of something that isn't benefiting you emotionally, mentally, physically. But I think for some of you, you put a lot of work in. So that's not getting unnoticed. I just feel like it's a matter of trying to let go of something that's unfulfilling. And I think that's why a lot of you made choices when it comes to, you know, your truths, when it comes to things that you believed in for so long, but then you end up believing that it wasn't manifesting anything that would ultimately bring you satisfaction in life. And I think that's why you had to let go of an unproductive either partnership or something that you worked hard for years, maybe 7 years, maybe 9 years, maybe 13 years, almost 13 years. You put into something for so long, but you know, you had to cut ties with something. You had to shake up things. But I feel like right now you're in a good spot of trying to rebalance your value. Like this also doesn't have to do with money. This could do with your value. You know, you value yourself more. And you're proud of all the accomplishments that you have made. It's just a matter of, you know, not rehashing the past. That's why I think you're failing at, is when you're really holding on to things that aren't really moving you forward. And I feel like that's why there's so many cards that are reversed, is you're still holding on to something. Like you're kind of in between, like holding on to the past, holding on to things that are not helping you. And also got to be careful when you watch things, certain things, like where your attention is going to, because I feel like a lot of it is getting you back into this unhealthy pattern. And I notice it's affecting you. And I feel like it's very important what we watch. It's important where we put our energy out. so we can be more in tune with helping our mental instead of our mental thoughts or our emotions. And I feel like if you associate with more negativity, that's what you're going to get. And I feel like the important thing is to balance and limit your time on what you focus on, whether it's negative or positive, because if you focus more on the negative, you're going to get the negative, whether it's, you know, issues happening in the planet or, you know, the news. Because I notice a lot of Virgos do that. They're in touch with nature, they're in touch with things around them, but they can get caught up in a negative cycle when they're too focused on things that happen in the world, which is not a bad thing. It has ups and downs with it, good and bad. I just feel like you have to really get a hold of, you know, what are you investing in? Your time, your energy, because whatever you're investing in, you're creating that future. But I just feel like you need to be careful when it comes to how you speak. You know, are you coming from a place of love? And also to, you know, what are you investing in? Are you investing in negativity that involves you, you know, getting back into the past, getting back into that negativity pattern that you fell into? Anyways, I hope that resonates with one of you. Bye-bye.